Hey, what's up? You ever wondered why the Mayan calendar ends in the year 2012? Of course you did. Everybody wants to know why the Mayan calendar ended in the year 2012. So sit back, relax, enjoy the video. So I remember back when I was in high school, people thought that the Mayan calendar ending was like a sign of the apocalypse or something like that. Yeah, it turns out that wasn't a real thing. In fact, it's actually not at all. That in fact, this ancient Mayan civilization was quite debatably one of the smartest societies in history. In fact, a little bit of history on the Mayans, they actually were around in the year 2600 BC. That's like way over 4,000 years ago. They were actually the first civilization that at least I can think of off the top of my head, and I believe in recorded history, that actually was able to determine how old the Earth was. They were actually able to determine the Earth is 365.24 days. That's right. They actually determined how long an actual day on Earth was. That's why we have a leap year. In case you didn't know, it's because we base ourselves off of the Mayans. They were definitely an astronomically sound society. So in order to understand this whole 2012 thing, we have to look at something called axial precession. So, in case you didn't know what this is, and you probably don't, here's a picture of the Earth, and as you can see, there's a circle at the top. So the little red stick sticking out of the Earth is the North Pole, and the circle is actually the rotation of the Earth's axis. So in case you didn't know, the Earth doesn't stand straight up and circle the sun. The Earth actually spins like a top, because, you know, the Earth is spinning, that so creates days. And it actually tilts back and forth to and fro. That's what actually causes the seasons to change, is each tilt creates a different thing. That's what the Earth is constantly in tilting. And as you can see, the illustration at the top of it, how there's actually it has a circle and meets it the other way around. That's actually called one rotation of the tilt. In fact, it actually makes one full rotation of tilt every 26,000 years, which is quite interesting. And even more interesting than that, it actually creates, every month, not every month, it points to a new, It points to a new star constellation every 2,160 years. It points to a new star constellation. And as of 2012, it actually points to a star constellation of what's known as Aquarius. In case you didn't know, we name our star constellations here in the world because we're weird like that. This is the star constellation Aquarius. You could probably find a better picture on Google. It's the man. It's not the fish at the bottom, but it's the man actually pouring the water out. And anyways, each tilt of the Earth, as you can see in this illustration, actually points toward a different star constellation. In the year 2012, the Earth actually rotated into position to point toward the star constellation called Aquarius. And that's, in my opinion, from the research I've done, actually based on actual science, you can see that the Mayans quite definitely predicted another tilt axis of the Earth, which is the year 2012. So that is extremely, extremely important. So in fact, when you look at actual cultures here, especially in the known world of astrology, they actually believe that the age of Aquarius, as you can see, the age of Aquarius is the number 11. It's at the top left. It's the picture of a merman there, right next to a cow and right next to the two fishes. This age of Aquarius is actually predicted by astrologers to be what's known as a time of peace. They consider Aquarius to be an actual time of peace and whatnot. This is very important because, as we can actually see in recent year, a time of peace. In fact, as you can see in recent years, the UN just actually passed this thing. It's actually the developmental goals. By the year 2030, they want this kind of thing to happen, from number 1, no poverty, 0 hunger, to, infrastructure, life on land. and number 16, which is peace, justice, and strong institutions, and most importantly, number 17, which is partnerships for the goals. This is very important. This actually states that, almost as if astrologers were correct in the sense that during the year, ever since the year 2012, that we are basically in starting of becoming a more peaceful and more peaceful society, a more unified and peaceful society. And astrologers predict that this happens in the year 2012, which is quite fascinating because the Earth actually does point to this Aquarius star constellation in the year 2012. So a little bit about what astrologers call this the Age of Aquarius. So what this Age of Aquarius is it's basically something of they predicted something called technological advancements. Basically they believe that Aquarius, the water bearer, is actually he's the creator of all science. He rules over science, yada yada yada, etc. So in case you haven't noticed, since 2012, there have been some amazing, dramatic scientific advancements. In this picture you can see here, this guy here, or a woman, is actually holding this little plastic-looking thing here. This is something called graphene. This is the revolution of the world, and you may think that's odd, but let me give you some details about this substance called graphene. This substance called graphene, for starters, it conducts electricity better than any single substance in the Earth. That is a proven fact. Another thing it does is it's the most applicable substance in the world. It is the strongest substance in the world. It's stronger than any steel you can make, as in it won't break. It's also programmable. So this is why I would probably say it is the most... Right now, this will actually change society as we know it. Graphene will literally change society. It's programmable matter. So I want you to think about that for a second. We can program computers to perform tasks, right? But the problem with that is it's code. It's only limited to computers. This graphene stuff here is programmable matter, which means we can actually program a physical substance to do what we want. That is freaking remarkable. Okay, like, the fact that we can program matter to do what we want? Talk about science fiction. This is modern day reality. This stuff is incredible. So let me give you one application of this stuff. It's actually called electric clothes. This is not a rumor, by the way. This actually is true. This is just the best picture I could find. As of right now, the clothes look like they're really stupid, and the clothes actually look like they walked out of a bad 80s movie. But, they're basically clothing you can wear that's very durable. It can conduct electricity based on your movements, and it can do things like charge your phone. This is programmable matter. You can actually program it to actually charge your phone. This stuff is freaking incredible. So just think about that. Like, when you think about the guy who discovered the atom, he didn't know what he had. People thought, oh, well, who cares? But, look how much it revolutionized everything. We have nuclear energy, we have, pretty much anything that we use molecular physics for in chemistry. Basically anything using chemistry, which is practically anything that you use in modern day society, is based on just that atom. So you think about that for a second. Now look at this. This is programmable matter. When we can program matter to do whatever we want, that's beyond incredible. Another substance that I'd like to take into account is something called quantum locking technology here. This quantum locking technology, as you can see here with this guy's hand, he's got this like little disc going right here. What this disc does, and I'll explain this briefly. This disc is actually something. It's a little piece of metal. I think it's aluminum. And what they do is they dip it in like a substance like liquid nitrogen. It's basically a substance that's like, I think, under negative 150 degrees Celsius or below. It's a substance that's actually quite under that. And what it does is this little table he's got going on here, as you can see, like if I zoom in like right here, you can see it's a little table that's really bad. It's actually a magnet. And when you actually take a metal like aluminum and you supercool it, it's called superconducting, and you place it on a magnet, it actually locks into place like that. As you can see, he's not touching it. It's just there in place. And this is something so freaking remarkable and cool. It's just absolutely beyond consideration. One application of this is actually is hoverboards. And yes, this is actually a thing. So I don't know if you've seen the viral YouTube video. You can look it up right now if you want. Lexus actually designed a hoverboard. And it actually works. As you can see, he's slipping his hand underneath it. The problem with the hoverboard is it's limited to a magnetic track, so it doesn't work on just street or dirt. It was actually made in a specially designed field, specially designed skate park made by them. You know, hoverboards. This is not science fiction anymore. This is actually something that we can do. And, oh, I didn't point it out about graphene, about this guy doing this, because that's actually from, I believe this is from TED Talks. Basically scientists talking about stuff. But a hoverboard, like a little disc that size right there, that little disc is strong enough to support the weight of a car. I believe it's something excessive, like 4,000 to 5,000 pounds. I'm not sure what that is in kilometers, but basically a freaking car. That's how strong this stuff is. It just locks in these, it locks in these quantum particles, and it stays that way. And as you can see here, it's able, obviously, this board here is able to lift the weight of a man. In fact, here's actually them working on the hoverboard right now. As you can see, what they're doing is they're taking this board here. There's the Lexus logo in the middle of that board. And it's got like a strip of like aluminum in it or something like that. And as you can see, the fog coming out of this guy's styrofoam case there is like liquid nitrogen or something like that. What they're doing is they're creating a superconducted thing. Oh, as you can see the little track that it's on right there, maybe you can see it's underneath the hoverboard. That little track is a magnetic strip. That's what I mean by specially made skate park. So just know, with this stuff, with a little thing like this, we can actually lift up the weight of a car. So imagine if we use these things for industries. We could freaking move buildings from like Manhattan to California. Okay, like I'm talking, it's excessive. And the fact that this stuff can actually go over water, yes, it can actually do that. I didn't include a picture of it, but yes, it actually can go over water. You know, think about that in terms of travel. If we could basically have, I don't know, like maybe a 30 by 30 feet strip of this stuff, you know, with a magnetic strip underneath the seafloor, we could basically travel across oceans, lifting, I don't know, billions of cars on top of this thing, and basically reducing shipping costs to being virtually nothing. I mean, literally, when you think about this stuff, I mean, let's go back here for a second. We have graphene, programmable matter. Basically, matter that you can turn into anything you freaking want, obviously, because, you know, we're millennials and, you know, we're addicted to our phones. You know, obviously, the most application is clothes that can charge your phone. This kind of stuff where you could basically travel across the Pacific Ocean carrying billions of, you know, weight. Did I say you could travel, you know, a building from Manhattan to California? Try a freaking building from Manhattan to China. Like, this is incredible. This kind of stuff is amazing. And this is what astrologists actually predicted. This is what they claim the Age of Aquarius was years before it happened. This was when the Earth tilts to basically point toward the star of Aquarius. They believe that because Aquarius is the stage of scientific advancement, this kind of stuff was happening. And as you can see, we have two things, this quantum locking technology and this graphene here. It's actually the beginning of a huge, ridiculously large scientific revolution. It's incredible. And not only that, but because they believe Aquarius is involved in peace, as you can see right here with UN, you can read these for yourself. Affordable energy and clean energy, decent economic growth, climate change with, a Eye of Horus right there to promote power, but it's an occult symbol. But, no poverty, zero hunger, this kind of stuff is pretty interesting that all of it was predicted. But to conclude my main point, you may think these astrologers must know something. However, there are lies hidden in the truth. Though it may seem on the outside that these astrologers predicted this correctly, that the Mayans, oh my gosh, these wonderful, great Mayans predicted, the basically changing of the axis tilt of Earth, and predicted all of this stuff happening, there's a lot of truth in the lies. And the reason why is because we need to pay attention to this. In Daniel, in the Bible, it says in Daniel 12:4, it says this, and I quote, "But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase." I think what you consider the building blocks for a brand new society, peace, basically unification, programmable matter, ridiculously, by the way, transportation industry, it won't be the same anymore. It just won't. All of this stuff is that way. Knowledge shall increase. He's right. If you don't know the context of this scripture in Daniel, it actually says, Daniel just seen a vision of the Antichrist rising up. Which leads me to the point here. Though astrologers think that this is a time of peace and unity and whatnot, this is actually the beginning of the rise of the Antichrist kingdom. In fact, this is the first time in human existence that we have seen irrefutable evidence of the Antichrist kingdom rising up. After all, the Bible does say they will cry, "Peace, peace," and justification for all. But the Bible says they will cry, "Peace, peace." But it'll actually be a false hope. It's of the Antichrist kingdom. So though you may think the Mayans are just the smartest people, they predicted all of this stuff, or that astrologers must know something, keep in mind, it's a huge deception, and we ought not fall for it. This is what the Mayan calendar 2012 means. The Mayans predicted what they believed was the age of Aquarius. What it actually is, it's the beginning of the Antichrist kingdom. So be aware and be truth of this. Don't deny the evidence that's right before your eyes. So, leave a like and subscribe if you like the video. This is the first video I've ever made, so please give me some critique. Constructive criticism, please. Don't be a troll. Nobody likes trolls. So anyways, hope you have a great day. God bless, and peace out. Leave a like and subscribe. Do it now. Oh, also, you can follow me on my channel. It's Educated Christianity. Again, sorry, this is my first video. I have a Facebook. You can look me up, Educated Christianity. Give me a like and subscribe if you want. Like my Facebook. All right. Have a nice day. God bless. Bye-bye.